This is Frank Mandolini, and this is the Last Minute Wrestling Podcast. Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 30 of the Last Minute Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host from Italy, Frank Mandolini, and you may have noticed something different, didn't you? Yeah, we have a new intro made by Italian musician Jonathan Bagnarelli. You can find him on Instagram at Johnny B Groove. Go check him out. He has some amazing music skills. He plays bass, guitar, piano, every instrument. Go check him and tell him Frank sent you there. The guest of today's episode is one of my all-time favorites. Well, I can honestly say in my entire life, I've been a fan of just 3, maybe 4 wrestlers. And Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show, is definitely one of those. But before we go to the chat with Rob, I have to remind you that today's episode is brought to you by Kangaroo. Kangaroo was created to ensure that everyone has access to home security. Every product Kangaroo makes starts with 3 questions. Is it simple? Can it be produced at a price that everyone can afford? And is it secure? With Kangaroo, you never pay for unnecessary bells and whistles, and you know your data is gonna be secure. The front door security kit is a simple setup with no tools or tech geeks required. If you have Wi-Fi and a smartphone, you can use Kangaroo. Go to heykangaroo.com to learn more and start keeping your home safe today. And be sure to use the code RINGDONG for 20% off any Kangaroo complete subscription order. Before we go to the chat with Rob Van Dam, I'm here to tell you that if you want to support the Last Minute Wrestling Podcast, you can go to Ko-fi, which is ko-fi.com/LMW podcast, and buy us a coffee. Or you can go to Patreon, patreon.com/LMW podcast, check all of our tiers, select the one that fits you the most, and you can become a Patreon backer of the show. You can also donate via PayPal, which is paypal.me/LMW podcast. You can find us on Twitter at LMW Podcast and on Facebook at facebook.com/LMW Podcast. We have an official website that you can visit, which is lmwpodcast.com, and starting from this very week, you can find all of the episodes of the LMW Podcast and many other wrestling news on the awesome website that is bodyslam.net. Now, without any other further ado, let's go to the interview with Mr. Monday Night, Tuesday Night, Thursday Night, Friday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, the whole damn show, the all effing show, Rob Van Dam. Hi Rob, how you doing?
That's my cue. Dude, I'm doing great.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Doing great, dude. Yeah, man. It's let me see. You're 8 hours ahead, so is it 10 p.m. there?
It's 11 p.m. 11 p.m.
Oh,
9 hours.
You know what? My phone. Oh, but where are you though?
In Italy. In Italy,
Okay. Gotcha.
like nearby Florence, more or less.
Right on. Cool, man. Well, you're in Las Vegas on this side of the camera.
Okay. Well, so it's pretty distant, pretty far ahead. So I wanted to talk with many topics. Of course, we can talk with Rob Van Dam. And first off, you may not know that or may not remember because I get you may get a lot of those tweets, but a few months ago you retweeted me when I just joined Twitter because I tend to whenever I record. Yeah.
I'm sorry. For some reason, I couldn't hear any of that. Like it froze up. I missed the whole.
Okay. I'll do it again.
Okay.
Like a few months ago, you retweeted me a very random tweet where I said that whenever I record this podcast, when I'm introducing myself, I do the Rob Van Dam hand gesture like that. Because every
Nice.
time I say like this is your host from Italy, I always do this, and that came off like I didn't really think about doing that. It was just to gain some confidence, and because I've been seeing you doing that for many years now, so there was like, okay, that's the natural thing to do, this hand gesture. So
Glad to inspire.
yeah,
Glad to
that's
inspire.
that.
That's always gonna be RVD. You know what I mean? Like when someone will send me footage when like the bowler Pete Weber would do it, or there's a football player that does it, or now there's a pool player that does it. It's like they're paying homage and tribute. But now there's a few wrestlers that do it too, and they try to make it their own, right? They'll like just do it with one hand instead of two or whatever. Did this one and that, and
Oh yeah.
but I don't know what I said to your tweet, but I probably said, here's another guy trying to be RVD.
No, you actually like that. You actually like that. You like the fact that I did the RBD and gesture.
Nice.
So and every time I think about this, I think, oh my God, am I an idiot for doing that? Or maybe if RBD is okay with that, I can keep on doing. I can keep on doing with this kind of stuff.
You're good, dude. You're good.
Well, thank you so much. And I would like to talk about a few different topics today. One of which is the DVD Headstrong that came out last year, if I'm correct, which is was intended to be like a documentary on your comedy show, became something a lot different, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's the DVD came out last year, and it was available online, before that. But it's something that I'll always be promoting. It's important to me because it became about, as you're saying, it became so much bigger than it was originally going to be. I was going to bring a camera on a road trip for 7 days. I was doing stand-up comedy. I do that sometimes. And I showed up with double vision from concussion from a match like 3 nights before. And I'd never had anything last that long before. So I kept thinking, well, I'll just go ahead with the plans. I'm sure I'll be fine when I wake up tomorrow. And then I would say that to myself, but then it didn't go away for the longest time. It took over the agenda of the movie and my life. I had to go to a neurologist and get tested. I went to 3 different doctors and had my MRIs looked at, and ended up but the thing is, I knew that it was a much bigger movie, and I was really proud of how it turned out because I was involved in editing like every single everything, like every scene, everything. It was a very hands-on project. I thought it turned out great, but the reaction that I got from everybody watching it, made me realize it's a lot more important than I knew it was, because it inspires a lot of people to see their hero, go through life's obstacles just like everybody has to. And I started this. That comedy tour wasn't really far after I'd gone through like a rock bottom for me. So I was, I was still piecing everything back together from my life, seeming to have fallen apart. And anyway, I'm very open and honest. And I think when you watch a documentary about somebody, you should feel like you know them and really learn a lot more than you thought you knew. And this does all that. I didn't know it was going to be so inspiring to people.
Yeah.
The movie ended up being much bigger than it was originally going to be. It took over the agenda of my life because it was. I learned so much about concussions. I realized how far behind education is on that, and I learned brave it was to even talk about it, because it's kind of still an area people don't want to talk about, and because of that, we're not learning much. And I would like my friends to quit killing themselves, and I don't want to go down that path. And I've had hundreds of concussions, and so learning from the people that watched my movie how much it inspired them and got the conversation going, it became more important for me that everybody watched my movie.
Yeah, and in the later years, the concussion is a very hot topic, of course, even because the early retirement of Daniel Bryan, then all that he had to do to come back. But you never hear something like, I had hundreds of concussions. I mean, do you think that this is the case not just for you, but probably to many other wrestlers as well? Do you feel like that?
It was my personal policy throughout my career to never admit, if I wouldn't even use the word hurt. To me, being hurt meant that I can't work. Otherwise I wasn't hurt. So anytime I got a concussion or even broken, like some small bones that I could still work around, I would never tell the promoter or anybody about it, because I want to be able to work the next day, and I felt like I could keep going and just tape myself up. So I could never blame, anybody but myself for getting the injuries, but then also for working, with the injuries. And that's an absolute until recently. Now, because I also want to help, like I said, with the awareness, with the education. If I get a concussion now, I don't mind talking about it afterwards, after the match. Like, wow, I knocked myself out there, which I try not to. I try to lead a healthier life, and that's important to me too, which includes a lot. It includes a lot. CBDs is part of it. I got stem cells. I take a lot of brain supplements, and I'm always trying to research whatever I can, because I want to help the cause, for me and for all my peers.
About your venture with RVD CBD, because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. How did it all start?
So the feedback that I was getting from people that watch Headstrong, really made me feel like, it's like you said, it's not something that people talk about, but I was like, I'm going to be the poster boy for it after, people watch the movie. And I was like, I'm all right with that. Once I became okay with that, I really want to spread the awareness so we can learn more. And one of the things I learned was that CBDs can help with the brain. And there's all kinds of stuff, like you said, Daniel Bryan, he, everyone says he did oxygen therapy, I had stem cells shot into my spinal fluid to go up to my brain. I tried a lot of things, and I was reading that CBG, which people don't even know about yet, it actually regenerate dead brain tissue, and I feel like I've been a long time fan of the cannabis plant, and I've been aware of how versatile it is, and one of the ways is on the human health. I don't think any plant, now that we're learning more about it, we don't learn much about it because it's illegal to study it. But forever we knew about THC too high. That's all we knew. Now, because legalization is getting more gray area, we're studying it, and we're learning how medical it can be. And so the same plant, the same marijuana plant, we can make it so that it has much less THC, it has more CBD, and then we can get the medicinal benefits without getting high. And we can someday, we're going to be able to pick exactly what kind of mood we're looking for, because there's so many different components that we haven't even addressed yet. So you're going to be able to say, I got a date tonight. I want to be in a good mood. I want to have good energy, though. I want to be able to talk. I don't want to have short-term memory. I don't want to get hungry because I can't afford to buy this bitch dinner. Whatever it is, that's where the studies are.
Yeah. So now you're saying that basically this product, the RVD CBD, has a high CBD level and zero THC, right? Is that
Yes,
correct?
that is correct, except for our newest product, CBD flower,
Mm-hmm.
which is the actual marijuana plant. That one is what we call full spectrum, which means we didn't take anything out of it. We just it just they grow it over time
Mm-hmm.
and make it less and less and less THC and more and more and more and more CBD generation after generation. So it still has a tiny little bit of THC in the flower, but the other products there's zero in the tinctures that you put under your tongue or
Okay.
the pain cream, which is superior. It's superior. People every day tell me that they get results from my products when they didn't get good results from other products, and that's because I made it different. I was in a lot of pain when I was coming up with the pain formula, and I was
Mm-hmm.
trying everybody else's products. And you can't feel yourself heal unless you're like Wolverine or Deadpool. If you're a
Yeah.
mutant, maybe you can feel yourself heal. But it felt like a lot of it feels like lotion. It feels like hand lotion. And then they're like, "What do you think?" I'm trying everybody else's product, right? I'm like, I don't know. So what I had with mine, and I got some right here. It's always right in front of me because
Mm-hmm.
I got to put it on my knees and shoulders and stuff. But bam. So
Yeah.
one thing, yeah, one thing I had 3,000 milligrams put in, which is probably at least three times what most jars have, and that's because some of us need more.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Henry told me that that I should put 4,000 milligrams in it because
Yeah.
we need more. Athletes need more. Bigger guys need more. And if you need less, it'll just last you that much longer. But the real thing that makes this a lot different, besides that, is the menthol, because I
Mm-hmm.
need to feel it. So when I open it up, like right now, my knees bothering me. I'm gonna take a scoop of it like that,
Yeah.
and I put it on my knee, and like right away, I feel because of the menthol.
Yeah.
I kept
You,
saying more menthol, more. Yeah, you feel it. You feel it right away. It's soothing. I feel it penetrating.
yeah.
It makes a circulation in my knee, and then the 3,000 milligrams of CBD will then, get inside there and be delivered um, better because of all that circulation, and then that'll tell my own system what to do to
Yeah.
heal better.
So
Yeah,
you work. So you work basically. That
smells great. Yeah.
I can smell it from here. I can smell it from here.
Yes.
And oh, thank you. So you're saying that you have a really hands-on approach, and I am assuming you work with a research lab to find the perfect formula.
Yes, and some let see that
Yeah,
RVD. That's what makes it stand out on the shelf right there. That's what makes it pop out. Bam.
exactly.
Yes, and it's different for different products too. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
do the labs extract the what we need from the plant, and then we can put it into like the formulas. But
yeah,
but like with the flour, that's a complete different lab, different grow, because as I said, you don't take anything out. You just manicure the plant along its way. So yeah, what I did, I talked to several, and then ended up really, making the decision and going with somebody that was already in the field.
hmm
He already had, they already have their own CBD company. I'm sure it's
okay,
much smaller than RVD CBD, but
yeah,
he had all the connections. He had all the connections. So what I did was I got with him, told him what I need, and then kept testing it and sending it back and saying more, more. And so that's why my product's different than what's out there. But yeah, definitely hands on. I go to where they're actually growing the plants
hmm
and in the greenhouses, which are amazing. There's so much energy in there, and it's so beautiful. It's like it makes me almost cry that people want to burn those plants down, and chop them up and kill
yeah.
them. But
Yeah, that's what you gotta do if you want the product. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but I mean, the law and firemen sometimes they do it, and they don't want the product. They do it because they don't want the product. You know what I mean? And that's where it seems that's where the crime is really
yeah,
in
yeah,
destroying.
definitely, definitely. Well, Rob, a very different topic now. Like a month and a half ago, roughly, it was the whole speaking out movement came out from mainly initially from the UK, then all around the wrestling world. And you were one of the voices that really spoke on that matter. And you came out with a few tweets that were really interesting because you said how like you always rejected the boys mentality in pro wrestling. And I recall one that you said, imagine a 21-year-old Rob Van Dam doing the splits inside one of those locker rooms. you know,
Yes,
you know.
true. That's
So,
true.
and it's a really interesting side of you that maybe not so much we can hear you talk about this kind of topics about the boys mentality.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel like uh, not all of us are as or were as damaged or hurt by whatever, but I think that we've all seen some, sexism and I mean the business of professional wrestling
Hmm.
was when I got into it, it was still like a closed door society. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was just the good old boys that ran it. A lot of the wrestlers nowhere near as athletic as they are today. They were 300 pounds. They would just drink beer, whatever.
yeah.
Dude, during that time, back in '93, when my first few tours in Japan, I saw the boys, Bill Cosby and the girls, like they would put in pills. They would do it to the boys to shave their head or whatever, but they would
Yeah.
go out to the bar. They would go out to the bar. I would see them do it in girls' drinks and bring the girl back like right before she's passed out. Literally rape. And I witnessed that when I was like 22 years old, and I was just, whoa, what a crazy world. And I knew it was crazy. I didn't realize really how victimized, the women would be afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's something where I'm sure we're changing for the better, but we're changing the industry into something it was never meant to be because it was a closed door society. It
Hmm.
was never meant to have. It was never meant to have equal rights
Hmm.
and to treat and to be free of everything. Racism used to be a big part of it. You know what I mean? There'd be like one black guy in the whole organization.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's what we knew growing up. I had like one black kid in each grade in the school that I was in. That's what we knew coming up. And so, like I say, we're changing for the better, but we're totally changing like this little secret society
Yeah.
into a public workplace is what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, and with all of those voices that came out, is that I mean, what's your position towards that? Because of course you're still working, you're still in the business, and did you see any change at all in the latest years, maybe even?
um, well, I've seen a lot of change, in the last few years. Like the industry has become a lot more professional in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
Most of the guys that are in the business now grew up watching RVD, and I think because of that, they're going to live longer than my generation because they're not out, they're not swallowing pills and drinking alcohol like most of my friends did every night. They have to keep themselves in shape because the style is so athletic, which I helped, inspire.
Yeah.
And so they are in a better position, and I don't mind taking total credit for that. But but also, you know, step by step, it has moved more towards a public working place, you know, and more professional, more of like a job. You know what I mean? More of like
Yeah.
it's like, I can't even tell you, like when I was in WCW in '92, it was a rule. You were not allowed to bring your wife or your girlfriend to the business. They weren't allowed to be anywhere around the show or anything. And they wanted you to appear to be fuckable. They thought that would draw females to the crowd. And they didn't want the women there causing problems because they're watching the boys cheat on their wives and all this stuff. You couldn't get away with having rules like that now. You know what I mean? That'd be so crazy. But it's so much. It's changed like so much. And of course, the last couple months, you know, it's like it's been so strong. I've been surprised by some of the allegations. You know, like I don't see how somebody can really do those things. But apparently they do. I mean, I know people, a lot of people do things that I can't, and that's one of them. And I think it continues for a long time. I think there's guys all the way to the top that could be accused if the people that they offended are offended enough.
Yeah.
Depends on how offended everyone is.
Yeah. And I mean, even without naming any names, were you surprised by some of your peers? Is that somebody that you went and said, oh, I will never imagine that guy to be this way, or not?
I don't think so. I don't think I felt like that. I don't think I felt like that about any of them. You know, like stuff I didn't know. Maybe a little surprised, but I'm not shocked. You know,
not shocked. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine you've seen it all during your career.
Yeah. Because it takes a lot. It takes a lot to even get a response out of me. You know. So yeah.
Yeah, and
I just knew that my name. I knew my name would never be dropped. You know, because like you said, I never wanted to just be around the boys, you know, like it's crazy. Like sometimes Katie will have a whole bunch of girls over here at the house, and they're all like, they're all taking pictures by the pool, wearing very little, if that, and then and you know it's cool, and then one of them will say, oh, poor Robbie's by himself. Do you want me to call my boyfriend over so you got someone to hang out with? I'm like, hell no. You know, that doesn't increase my fun at all. Hell no. And a lot of the wrestlers just love being around the boys so much that, you know, they have their own secret society set of rules, you know. I remember you said not mentioning names, but JBL,
okay.
you know, all the rumors of JBL, everyone's heard those, right? Everyone's heard of how he is, you know, and I've seen him, I've had him smack my ass, you know, a lot, you know, like good game. Like he would do that. He did that so much, not just to me, to everybody, that after a while it wasn't funny. It was like, you know, a few times it'd be a joke, but he's done that like over and over and over and over. I think he's getting something out of it. I don't know, but one of the first trips that I was on with the company, he told the referee, the WCW referee, Billy Silverman, they took him to the kangaroo court. He made some often, you know, the whole wrestler court, you know, that thing's ridiculous, you know. I would never put that over. I walked in one time and I just rolled my eyes and said, oh, fuck this. And I just laughed because it's like, it's so, to me, that's like so not, I'm not one of the boys in that way, I guess. You know, I don't know. I'm one of a kind, and that's one of the reasons why. Anyway, in this wrestler's court, JBL allegedly told Billy Silverman that he had to supply beer for the entire roster for the rest of this international trip that we were on. And he said if he didn't, then he said he was gonna fuck him in the ass.
Okay. Well, that's allegedly.
Billy Silverman. Yeah.
He
Billy
left.
Silverman quit, and he sued WWE for sexual harassment. That was in
Whoa.
2001 when I first got there.
Oh well, yeah. Immediately after ECW closed the door, so you just arrived to a new company and you see that. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you're not only you're telling me that wrestler's court is real, it's a real thing, but it's
Yeah.
probably worse
I
than we
wouldn't
all imagine as fans.
put it. Yeah, and honestly, it's like it's kind of I relate locker room mentality to being like in middle school.
Yeah.
That's why I reject it. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe like I've been gone for a while. Maybe this was probably when I blew my knee out. I had to take 2005 off.
Hmm?
It was probably during that time I'd been gone for a while, and when I came back, all of a sudden, CM Punk, who it seemed like he'd just been. I didn't remember being around that long before I left, and I
Yeah.
left. Then when I came back, CM Punk's like telling everybody that he's calling a locker room meeting. And I was like, what? Who the fuck is he? Like he was like a new guy, and he's calling a locker room meeting. And I was like, are you serious? And he goes, it doesn't have anything to do with you. And I think he did it twice. I think, once was because somebody was allegedly stealing. Like, that happened a couple times when I was there, where they say the boys were stealing from the boys. She was ended up missing in the bags, and they knew it wasn't a building person somehow. That happened a couple times, and then
Yeah.
they would go to wrestlers' court. And, I can understand where they would want to take their own vigilante justice out one way or another on something like that. But another time, I think Phil, he called a meeting because everyone was leaving the dressing rooms messy. He wanted everyone to clean up. And again, he said it didn't include me. But I was like, I don't have whatever that is inside to like to play the politics at all. Definitely not to put myself in a position like that. It was just like, dude, I'm sure I could bump this guy out of locker room leader if I really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But was that wrestler's court just in that locker room, or even in other companies you had similar experiences?
I don't think that I've seen it in other companies. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if here and there, maybe if it was like in Ohio Valley Wrestling, because that was like WWE's Farmers League.
Yep.
I would be surprised if it wasn't there, because that's where you're paying dues. You're paying your dues. They really have to stay on you and humble you at that point. But I don't think I've heard any stories or seen it personally outside of WWE. Yeah.
So it was and when you came back in like 2012, I think, in WWE, if I'm not mistaken, here, did anything change in the meantime? Maybe with the old guard that left. I mean, by that point, Shawn Michaels left. Undertaker and Triple H were really less present at shows.
Yeah.
Did you feel any difference?
So which years are we talking about now?
Probably around 2012 or 2013.
Yeah, a big difference. Like there was me and Big Show and Goldust and Mark Henry, and we're all the same age. And then everybody else seemed like they were 20 years younger. And a big change was how much the industry had changed. Like a lot of the moves they do wouldn't be compatible, back in the day. Like for me, I had to get my shit in. You know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna leg drop you, it's up to me if I want to do a flip and then the leg, or a 360 and then a leg. We didn't used to like walk through shit, and help each other in front of the people. It was all about protecting the business. It's like it's so different now, and it's going in a different direction, And there's so many wrestling groups before the virus anyway that it's easier for anybody to get into the business than it ever was before. But that also is harder to stand out.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. And talking about the current brand that you're wrestling in for Impact Wrestling, that you've been there for quite a while throughout your career, and today I realized, as you just said, that now it's easier to get inside of those promotions. Impact Wrestling, and even when it was called TNA before that. I think it has a clear distinction to their name, that they were the ones that allowed many European wrestlers to come to the States and try their hand, with American wrestling before all that we see right now with NXT UK and this kind of stuff, that it's a lot of European centric, I would say. I think Impact was really the first big league, I will call it, that did this thing to put European wrestlers, unknown European wrestlers, on a platform.
I think you're probably right. And one thing I know is that Impact has always been bigger in the UK than it is in the United States, even.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why that is, if it's the channel they're on or their product or what. But yeah, Impact has been showing their footage of archive matches lately, and you forget about everybody who's been there. It seems like almost everybody has wrestled for Impact at one time or another, and they just, despite all the rumors that they were going to, rumors have always been there that they're going to go under, they're about to fold, they've always managed to strongly just plow right through all that and not care. So it's an awesome company to work for, and I didn't think I'd be probably signing another contract. I was kind of looking to. I've been wrestling 10 to 12 matches a year for a couple of years. Figured maybe I would even do less, and then worked out this deal with Impact. So now I'm wrestling way more, but it's still I'll have 3 days consecutively in a month or in 6 weeks, and then I'm off to do my other stuff. And the business of it is great. They they treat me great, and even letting me have Katie Forbes with me when I'm on the road. It's just I don't know what else could I ask for. So great company to work for. And it's funny how some of the fans will be so frustrated, oh, but why don't you go to this group or this AWE or WWE or and it's dude, you don't understand. Things are good for me here. They don't understand it's a job.
Yeah. And I recall one of your interviews, one of your past interviews, when you said that now everybody wants to show that they are the ones that they love wrestling more, and you are happy with still loving it, but a little bit less than you don't have to show that you have to be around 300 days a year.
Yeah,
that's
and
totally understandable.
Comes with being a legend, and so I'm owning that everybody in the dressing room is so much hungrier than me, and excited. Katie's still excited about the business and working her way up and watching her fan base grow week after week, and it's that's cool. I don't get as excited about it, about anything really, but I could see wrapping it up, I'm going to be 50, well, this year, almost next year, December 18th. So I doubt at this point that I'll be wrestling, that I'll be wanting to wrestle past 50. I don't know. I still enjoy it though. It makes me stay in condition. I love showing off. In front of the crowd. I don't enjoy. It is a lot of hard work though. I got to keep it. I don't enjoy sometimes working through pain as much. That's the thing. It's sometimes when I have to wrestle, and it's my ribs and my back and my knee and my shoulder, and sometimes a lot of stuff is collected, and it makes the job so much harder, and it makes just working out and staying in shape so much harder when everything's hurt. So there's always this thought in my mind, like if I didn't beat my body up so much, maybe I wouldn't be as hurt. But there's a lot of benefits, and it's definitely not a thankless job, because I love the fans. RVD CBD is really taking off so much, and it's not just a business. It's really about helping people. Like that's what everybody that gets the product gives me 100% feedback so far is just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much. So I could see that really keeping me busier and busier to where I would wrestle less and less. Especially if this quarantine ever lifts,
Yeah, and also one of the things that you always did throughout your career, you always kept yourself occupied with other ventures. Either that be stand-up comedy. I remember a few years back you had this RVD radio, if I'm correct, and and now this venture with RVD CBD and all of this stuff. And I could say that you have planned this for a long time now. To have other ventures once your in-ring career will be over.
Always, people wonder what I do like on a regular day. I get up whenever I want, unless I have a flight, which is not very often now. Today I'm looking over one contract for a new video game that they want me in it.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say, but it's what is it called? Virtual Basement.
Virtual Basement, okay.
I'm not going to say, but it's Virtual Basement. And then I have this other company. Actually, in 15 minutes, I have a phone conference about this phone app that's it's called Celebrity Slots, and it's like a slot machine. It's a RVD called Money in the Bank. We're supposed to roll that out at the end of the month and have that RVD's Money in the Bank phone app out. I got to talk to my CBD partners about all these game tournaments that they're setting up with some of our co-sponsors, and I have a movie contract that I've been putting off reading because I already read like the first draft. Reading it again. But I love my life though, and I haven't looked for work myself since probably 92, probably 92, 91 or 92 is the last time that I actually had to look for work, with one exception, and that's because when I returned to the WWE in 2013, I made the phone call. So you can count that, because I was with Impact and I was wanting to leave because they had pissed me off, they dragged their feet on this contract. I went to see Booker T get inducted into the Hall of Fame. I saw everybody, it led to, why don't you give Hunter a call? I called Hunter and then ended up doing the return. So but without that, all I do is just look through options that are thrown at me. Like that's what I do professionally. So it's pretty good. Is acting. Not that I would ever consider myself a great actor, but I do that quite a bit, and I've gotten most of my experience on film. So my last stuff is the best stuff, because now I'm finally experienced after being really green. But I hated doing auditions. So when I lived in Hollywood, after doing so many auditions, I told my agent, no, I can't. I hate it. If they want RVD, let me know. Otherwise, I'm not.
You're not gonna do it yourself.
I don't need to.
So, Rob, one last question before I let you go, because you have other important meetings on your table to do. And one last question is, as you said, you've been very, very influential to many wrestlers that we now see doing incredible flips, incredible stuff in the ring, and you really were the first one to use those kind of moves. I think certainly in the United States.
Yeah. You want me to? No, I'm just
That's
keep going.
no, don't you worry.
Well, thank you. No, I wanted to open up the door. I could still hear you. Were you done with that?
Sorry, don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah, um,
I
I
think
was
so.
just about to ask you if you could have one dream match right now from with a wrestler from any other company, which one would be RVD versus?
Um, well, before I get back to that though, on what you just said, I appreciate that. It was like '96, and I've been wrestling 6 years before I realized how different I was and how much I stood out. Even though, even before my first match, all I ever wanted to do was come up with moves that I'd never seen. I was
Yeah.
always thinking outside of the box, but it was like '96. Taz, in an interview, said he thought RVD was the most athletically gifted wrestler in the business. And I was like, what? Like, I'd never heard that before. I was not in sports in school,
Hmm.
not an athlete. I was a goof off. And then once I heard that, I really owned it. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, I love showing off. That's where I learned everything, was showing off. And then like WWE, then my music was one of a kind, and JR would just say how unorthodox I was, and I was realizing how much different I was. And so I had to get my moves in because nobody else was doing moves like me. Nowadays, everybody is doing moves like me or finding a way to even add to it, and they can all work with each other and do that. But personally, though, I think it's lost some of the fight in it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a big debate that I don't think can ever be solved. Is it a dance or is it a fight? And RVD says it's a fight. Definitely a fight.
Okay. So can I fantasy book? Can I fantasy book a match for you?
Yeah,
Since
that'd be best. That
since
would be
si-
best.
since you said that you prefer fight, there is a wrestler that is actually retired now, but as we said before, even Daniel Bryan was retired and then he came back. So who knows in the future? Which is if you're following New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'm talking about Katsuyori Shibata, and he is a fighter. That would be a hell of a match, I think. RVD versus Shibata.
Yeah. Well, cool. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he is, but that sounds awesome. Part of even though I don't love it, and I don't have that hunger that drives a lot of the
Yeah,
younger guys. I'm all professional when I'm
yeah.
out there. You know what I mean? So, and I do enjoy, as I said, showing off. I enjoy my job. Um, but but man, those really long matches where I would
Yeah.
go 30 minutes, flips. Even that, like even though I like showing up, I don't enjoy even like when I have to breathe hard. I don't even enjoy that anymore. I'm like, I hate this feeling, you know. But at the same time, since I hate it, it makes me stay in top condition so that I can do everything. So I hope I get to go to Japan sometime, either to wrestle him or somebody. I would love to return.
Oh well, well
Yeah.
that will be a dream for us fans around the world. Well, RVD, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for being a guest here on the Last Minute Wrestling podcast. And I usually ask all of my guests to plug their channels, but I don't think in your case you will need to. You will need to people already know RVD, so you will not need to do that.
Well,
So yeah,
make sure that they understand. Make sure that they know that I have RVDCBD.com.
yes,
But right now, right now the shipments to UK are questionable. Like they've held up because of this virus, and I don't know, but yeah, but you're right. Everywhere you can find me at the Real RVD.
Whoa, that's amazing. Thank you so much. So that's very weird to ask, but I have to ask you. Can we do this together? Yeah, gesture.
I forgot how it goes. Oh, you mean this?
Yeah.
R V D.
Oh,
Shane,
thank you.
Shane, hey,
Yeah.
little inside story. Shane McMahon told me way back in 2001, I need to decide if it's going to be RVD or Rob Van Dam because the people don't know which way to go. Just like you had to wait. You weren't sure if I was going to say R or Rob. And then once you start, yeah. But it was great advice. I didn't listen to it, but I did like the advice. If I really need someone to know, then I'll say, hey, everyone's favorite wrestler, Rob Van Dam, or know him by the 3 letters, then it's coming, right? Either way, the whole effing show.
Yep, exactly. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and talk to you soon.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao. Wow, what an amazing honor and a privilege for an Italian guy who grew up idolizing RVD to have the chance to talk with him and to talk with him a lot and in deep on so many topics. That just goes to show how much of a great man Rob Van Dam is. I will be forever grateful to him for this amazing learning experience. The next show of the Last Minute Wrestling podcast will feature our first ever wrestler coming from Malaysia. I'm talking about Ayat Shaukat Fonseca. Thank you for listening. Remember to leave a comment, like, share, subscribe and spread the word. To make sure we keep our content going, you can buy us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forward-LMW podcast, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/forward-LMW podcast, or donate at good old PayPal, paypal.me/forward-LMW podcast. You can find the Last Minute Wrestling podcast all over the platforms, on the official website, which is lmwpodcast.com, and on the portal bodyslam.net. Remember to follow us on Twitter at LMW Podcast and on Facebook at facebook.com/forward-LMW Podcast. I've been Frank Mandolini, and you stay safe.